Hello! Hi guys, today is the 14th of May, which is my niece's 5th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ari. I have not been able to see you, obviously. But yeah, so it's the 14th of May. It is day 55 of lockdown for us.
Yes, so happy birthday, Ari. Now get your dad to switch this off before we do all the sweary
bits. Don't let her watch this. Might be some big questions afterwards. Yes, I don't swear in front of my niece, obviously, but I do swear on this. So yeah, this is not for Ari's eyes until she's a bit older. But yes, so it's I'm having a bit of a good day. Are you having a good day? Things all feel
having a good day,
pretty
actually.
good.
Yeah.
So we will go into sort of what we've been up to today, but actually I will just start off with the stuff that we didn't have time for yesterday, because talking about basically I want to talk about an article that I saw on BBC News website, which does a bit more of an analysis into why different numbers for sort of death rates and death figures and infection rates, etc., are being bandied about in different sources, and all of which sort of suggesting like they're the total. So I've mentioned on here previously that I was a bit confused because the numbers that they were giving in the daily press briefing, which are also the numbers that they were using on BBC News, appeared to be the number that the ONS was giving. Sorry, that's the Office of National Statistics. That seemed to be the same figure that they were giving for England and Wales. So I was a bit confused, but I couldn't, and I was trying, because I was confused. I was like, what am I missing? Like, what, like, am I being dense, or what's going on here? So
she has been trying. We've talked about little else.
So I did a bit of sort of scooching around and couldn't really find anything, and I was finding conflicting numbers. So thankfully, this article, basically by the BBC, I did link it yesterday in the blurb, but I will also do it today in today's blurb. It explains why those numbers are slightly different. So what it basically seems to be is that the BBC and the daily press briefings, so these figures that I'm going to give today are actually from, so it's the 14th today, so these are from the 12th. So they would have actually been for the 11th. They were published on the 12th. So obviously slightly raised since then, but just sort of so that we've got the direct comparable sort of numbers. The BBC and the press briefing were using, so when I'm talking about the death toll here, it was using deaths that had had a positive COVID test result. The ONS is using deaths that have COVID stated on the death certificate. So the difference with that is they may have died with COVID, but not of COVID. They could have been asymptomatic and died of something else, but they did have a positive COVID test. Now, you'll have to assume most of those people, if they've got a test, is probably because they've been showing symptoms. So most of those, you will assume it's probably that COVID was, at very least, a very significant factor leading to the death, if not the cause. It seems to be that COVID actually exacerbates existing health conditions, which is why it's sort of affecting when you're sort of younger people are being affected. It's usually that they've got some sort of underlying health condition. So basically that's why there's a discrepancy there. So the actual number that the ONS using, which I think is a better number to use, I think it's very deliberate that the daily press briefing is going for the smaller number. More worryingly though, so for example, on that day, the BBC were using 32,692, and the ONS was saying it was 35,044, but that was only for England and Wales. The total with Scotland and Northern Ireland was 40,446. Which is a big jump. Obviously, that's a lot of people, and they are people who had COVID on the death certificates. This is not estimated figures; they are deaths with COVID, but they may not have had a test. That may be for various reasons. It may be that they had other problems. It was so obvious that it was COVID. They were, whatever reason, I don't know why, I'm not a doctor, but the doctor who has done the death certificate, I know why I'm not a doctor.
Oh, tell me after.
I'm not clever enough. But yeah, Only got a C in A-level biology.
Well,
That's not good enough,
I
is
didn't
it?
realise I was sat here with Captain Thicky.
How did you do in A-level biology?
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, no, creative essay type subjects, more my bag. But yeah, so I've lost my thread now. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know why they might not have had a test while they were still with us. But a doctor who obviously has confirmed the details for the death certificate has stated COVID as a factor, if not the direct cause in their death. So they definitely had it, and they definitely died with it.
Because you do hear a lot of people saying, well, that person died with COVID-19.
With COVID, not
of COVID-19, as if to negate the COVID-19,
Yeah.
as if the COVID-19 wasn't a factor. But as you're saying, it does exacerbate
Yeah.
existing issues, so it probably did have something to do with the death,
Well,
even if
yes,
it wasn't the
yes,
primary
it might
thing.
not have been, but it may well be that although it wasn't directly COVID that killed them, they might not have died if they hadn't caught COVID.
Exactly.
So that I understand, and there are a lot of people trying desperately to cling on to that, the numbers not being as scary as they sound. On that note, and this is correct of yesterday, so I mentioned a little while back in the blog actually that the FT had done a detailed analysis into the figures, and they were estimating the figures to be drastically underestimated by what was being released in the press. Now, Chris Giles, who I think is the economics editor of the FT, but he's high up in the FT anyway, he's an editor of one of the departments, I think it's economics, he's been releasing updates since that story's come out. Basically, yesterday, so this is the figure that they've used for excess deaths. So over a 5-year average of how many people would have died between January and now, and I think these actually only go up to the 1st of May, and today's the 14th, so we're about 2 weeks behind. Confirmed excess deaths, higher than what would be average, are 51,400. And due to like various reasons and wise estimations based on reports that haven't come through yet because there are delays in reporting, the estimation that it is now past 60,400. So now that won't necessarily be saying that those 60,000 people died of coronavirus, but coronavirus, if it hadn't come to the country and we weren't in lockdown and we weren't all of these things, those are the deaths that are higher than they would normally be. So that could be people that were scheduled for other surgeries that had to be cancelled, or people that maybe didn't go to A&E because they didn't want to go to hospital that should have when they were having chest pains and all sorts of things like that. But essentially, these are people that have died that might not have died were we not in the middle of this crisis. So anyone who is desperately trying for the numbers to be lower than they are, I understand that instinct. These are scary numbers. Like once we're into the thousands, I sort of lose perspective. And there will also be people saying, yeah, but there's 67 million of us. What's 50,000? And it's like, well, that's 50,000 more people dead than would always be. There's still all the normal levels of death are happening anyway. So there's still people, actually there will be certain causes of death that will be reduced. I would have thought there's fewer road traffic accidents and things like that going on.
The trouble is,
fewer drink driving things because
Yeah.
people aren't getting drunk and then driving home from the pub. There will be other causes of death that are reduced, and these are still deaths that are, so we're about 60,000, even if we go with the most conservative estimate, which is confirmed deaths that are higher than the average, 51,400, which is terrifying. So I don't blame the government for clinging to their smallest statistic. But when you quote the smallest number, and people get on their soapbox going, oh well, those lots of people they would have died anyway, and actually you're inflating the figures. No, they're underestimating the figures. The figures are bigger.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's true. What you're saying is completely understandable if people want to kind of play down the figures or find a way to justify it to themselves that it's not as bad as it sounds because it's all very scary. But on the other hand, from my point of view, I almost want people to be
I want people
scared
to be
of the figures if it's the sort of people who are kind of going to then be a bit more careful about maintaining social distancing, or just make responsible decisions.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are making those decisions anyway, and I don't want them to be any more scared or upset or worried than you already
No,
are.
it's a difficult balancing act because you don't want it to be detrimental to people's mental health. Lockdown is hard on people's mental health anyway, and I think it probably is worse if you're spending that time on your own just getting more and more terrified of what's going on outside. So it's a fine line, and I understand why the government wouldn't want to sort of spread panic, but they've overstepped that and they are spreading complacency. I think is fair to say that their approach to even implementing lockdown, I think, gave the impression to quite a lot of people that this wasn't very serious and somehow that we wouldn't be as badly hit as other places. I don't know where that comes from, other than just ego and narcissism of somehow by being British we will somehow just rise above it. Like I don't know where that comes from, but yeah, maybe I guess some people being a bit sort of having a lot of faith in the health service, but not really appreciating how much it's been strangled over the last decade. But whatever the reasons, so even us implementing lockdown late and slowly and quite a relaxed lockdown compared to other countries, that's probably caused quite a lot of people to be quite complacent. And then the sort of leaking the idea that we were winding up lockdown. When we weren't, actually, and it definitely gave people a real sense of this is almost over, we can breathe now, and actually we're just past the peak. It doesn't mean that this is anything like over. We're going to be living with this in some form for a very long time. Essentially, I think social distancing measures are going to be in a part of our lives for a long while until there's ideally a reliable vaccine. But that might not happen. We might not get a vaccine. It might not be possible, but hopefully they will be. But also, I guess, the more we know about it, there may become more effective treatments, better drug therapies that can treat it, that can stop it. So that would be also brilliant, and obviously scientists are working towards that now. And actually it could be that, all right, we can't vaccinate against it, but actually once you get a confirmed test, a course of this drug, and Bob's your uncle, you're fine. That could be the case, which would be brilliant, but that's not going to happen in the next month or two.
Well, Boris has indicated now there may never be a vaccine, hasn't he?
Yeah, which is true. There might not be. Like even with things like there are viruses out there that can basically eradicate or have eradicated with vaccination. There are others that, like flu, for example, that because of the way it mutates, flu in some form will always be part of the population. You can vaccinate against the current strain, but some little pop-ups and mutations of it means it'll always be there to some level, and coronavirus could do the same thing. We've always had coronaviruses. It's just this one's a nasty one with human-to-human contact, human-to-human, what's the word?
Transferent?
There is a word I'm looking for, but I can't. Human-to-human transmission. Thank you. Right. So I don't know why I said thank you to myself there. Thank you, Ellie. Well done. Yeah. So we don't know what we're dealing with, but we're going to be dealing with some form of lockdown, social distancing measures for some time to come. So now is not the time to get complacent. And I do understand the urge. I understand that being the desire, but unfortunately, want isn't get. Like, just because you don't want it to be as bad as it is. This is a fact now. We're living with it. And we've got far more cases in the population than most other countries that are still just winding down lockdowns now and still obviously have to have social distancing measures. I think like it is important to look at the numbers, but really look at exactly what figure that is that you're looking at. Is that confirmed COVID deaths? Is that testing positive? Is it testing positive in England and Wales? Is it including, basically is it including all factors? So yes, it's a bit daunting because the numbers we are being given are pretty much the most conservative estimate that are accurate. And they're not consistent. So essentially, whatever number they're saying in the daily press conference, it is safe to say, round that up quite significantly. So even using just the difference with the BBC using 32,692 on that given day, the ONS, the Office of National Statistics, had an accurate figure of deaths with COVID-19 on the death certificate of over 40,000.
As if the lowest figures being quoted though aren't already.
Yeah, 32,000 is a terrifyingly high number.
The trouble is, it gets to a point where it's the number is so high, even the lowest number being quoted is so high that it becomes like an abstract thing that's hard to wrap your head around. Like when you hear about famine in Africa, is less kind of, you can kind of, you don't really register it.
You become detached, a little bit numb to it, because I look like
something happening to your neighbour is
it's tangible.
Not our neighbours, they're awful.
Harry, he's talking about you.
No, don't say that, she'll get me.
She's got spiders.
She seems like she's fierce.
She's got pet spiders.
She seems...
Of course, this is an arachnophobe, and I shouldn't have told him that our neighbour has pet spiders.
She seems like she doesn't take any shit.
She doesn't take any shit. She'll come over with a spider. Once lockdown is lifted, she'll be like, hey, you want to meet my little friend?
I sort of admire Harriet from afar, but not in that sense. But, like, she seems pretty cool.
She's a badass bitch. We like
Harriet.
Harriet.
She's helped us out with some cat things as well, and...
we like our neighbours for the most part. I think one or two of them might be a bit... But I won't name which ones. You know who you are. The ones who know who they are wouldn't be watching this anyway, so it's fine. So we like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
Oh, too busy watching ITV1 to watch a daily vlog, are we? I suppose you're watching Britain's Got Talent when you could be watching a daily vlog which veers all over the place tonally. Go fuck yourselves.
So that's just something I've been wanting to talk about.
Our neighbours are so up themselves.
I will put the link.
Fucking stand it.
Can't fucking hypocrites, a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'll put the link to that article. It is worth a read.
Clapping for the NHS, but secretly stockpiling drugs. I've no basis for that accusation.
No. How would you know?
I don't know how I would know.
So that's a thing that is worth putting some thought into. As I say, I'll put the link to the article in the blurb.
You're right,
do read it. Lucy's asking to be allowed to sit on the sofa.
Lucy, get up on the sofa. Go on.
No. Bless her. She's a very good girl, but she sometimes whines to be allowed on the bed.
Yeah, you're a good girl.
Or on the sofa, and just get a little bit. Other times you just get up.
Sometimes when we used to film this on the sofa, you could get a little bit of dog in shot.
Yeah.
But this camera is now higher up, and dog is just a kind of knee height.
I have noticed a couple of times. I don't notice at the time because I guess I'm talking or I'm listening to you. But sometimes you hear a big, very distinctive creak in the background. That's the sofa. That's when Lucy gets on the sofa. So if anybody has been hearing that and been wondering what the hell is that noise,
she doesn't want to go
Lucy.
out for a wee or something, does she?
She might do. Do you want to go and?
All right, you talk about your numbers.
Well, I finished talking about my numbers. I think. Well, what I will talk about is what we're going to get up to after this. We are going to be watching, we mentioned it a while ago, but we didn't know what day it was going to be out. But tonight at 9 p.m, so we have actually already missed it because Chris was filming For's a Crowd, which I'll mention a bit further in a moment. But yes, so it went out at 9 p.m. tonight, so on the 14th of May. So it'll be available on, it's BBC, isn't it? So it'll be available on iPlayer. Probably already, but we're gonna watch it after this. So when you're watching this tomorrow, it is already going to be there. Charlie Brooker, I love. He's I guess mainly now known for the Black Mirror series, but actually prior to doing that, he used to do Screen Wipe and News Wipe, which are basically sort of topical shows. Screen Wipe was sort of a review show of what's going on in TV and stuff, wasn't it?
About how TV was made as well.
And then News Wipe was
a show on Channel 4 called You Have Been Watching as well.
Yes, but yeah, he's brilliant. He's very scathing, very witty and very dry, and I really look forward to watching his take on this because obviously with his sort of Black Mirror series, it's sort of talking about dystopian societies and sometimes leaning towards the apocalyptic. He also wrote Dead Set, which was brilliant. Oh, did you know, by the way, this is interesting. I think it was in Brazil. It's somewhere in South America anyway. They still watch Big Brother. They still have Big Brother going on. They're running a series at the moment and haven't told the people in the house.
Where's this?
That coronavirus is happening.
Where?
I think it's Brazil.
Jesus.
I know.
Right. How long have they been How long do they stay in that house?
I guess. Well, I think normal series of Big Brother normally go on for about 2 months.
That feels very irresponsible.
So they probably know that coronavirus was bubbling under before they went in, but they don't know that their country is in lockdown and that it's gone global. That is.
Once you're there, you've got to keep them there because are they letting people out once a week? Are they voting people off?
I don't know. I guess they must be.
The responsible thing would be like, guys, pandemic, we're going to give you food, write your shopping lists. Do you know what? Don't worry about if you completed the tasks. We're just going to feed you. We're not going to broadcast this anymore, obviously. We're just going to look after you.
You're just in lockdown. But also that must mean that all of the production team are still having to go into work every day.
That is insanity.
I don't know what their transmission rate is I don't know which country it is. I should have checked it. It was only just mentioning Dead Set that's made me remember this story.
I cannot wait to check if the comedian Stefan Allen already knows about this because he will
lose his shit.
Yes, yeah. I think so.
So I'll fact check because I didn't see an article on this. A friend saw an article and mentioned it in a conversation, and I meant to.
It could be bullshit.
It could be bullshit.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, she's somebody who doesn't tend to spout bullshit. So it was Jo. So Jo tends to double check herself. But yeah, she told me about that. I think it was Brazil, or she thought it was Brazil. It was South American. I don't know, but obviously in their country that they are in, they might not have. It would be, I imagine, different if they were in the States or here, where literally thousands of people are dying. It might be that they've not got huge numbers of transmission, and they might just be doing sort of a cautionary lockdown. But still, like, you kind of think, where's the line for, like, hang on a minute, guys, we kind of have to tell them something about this? Because I know the idea is you're cut off from the real world, but, like, I think this is maybe we can make an exception.
If we didn't have other things to talk about that, I could talk happily for an hour about that now, without having any of the other facts. Well, I tell you what,
let's find the facts, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow.
For an hour tomorrow once I have the information.
Yeah.
Like, that is insane. But anyway, so Charlie Brooker, who...
So yeah, News Wipe is going... not News Wipe, sorry, Antiviral Wipe.
Yeah, I really enjoy Black Mirror, and I'm very pleased for his success, but I have missed him as like a television quote-unquote personality. Yeah. So we would recommend it.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Speaking of...
So, well, I should mention, I did sort of mention it in passing, the reason we didn't watch it at 9 is because Chris was filming The Weekliest Thursday. So it's Clap for Kira's and Forza Crowd Day.
That's the two things
they're the only two things that happen on a Thursday. So that's why we couldn't watch it at 9, so we're going to watch it. So you were filming that today. It was a good one today, I think. I missed the first 5 minutes because of cat-related incidents. But yeah, and I caught the rest of it, and it was a good one.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do. It's nice to have something to do every week. You got a bit of routine back, and to be seeing some of my comedy colleagues. And we had Sarah Bridgman as a new guest, and she's going to be back next week as well.
And her cat.
And her cat.
Her cat was there.
Was a delight.
If Sarah, I don't know if Sarah watches these, but Chris got very jealous because he has wanted our cats to be in this. And they keep refusing. They have no interest in being on camera at all. And then there's her beautiful beast just posing in the background elegantly throughout the whole thing. And Chris is there going, I want my boys to be famous.
I do, because my boys are so good. Where are my boys?
I don't think either of them are here.
No, they've run away because they've sensed we're filming, and I'm
very shy, which you wouldn't think it of them, would you?
Like Greta Garbo, I want to be alone.
Well, just before this was manhandling a Maybug, which I rescued from him.
That's not ideal.
So he might be in a sulk. He might be in a sulk because I took off his Maybug. I took his Maybug off him.
Well, I had to take
It was alive though; it survived.
I had to take a dead mouse off Arthur this morning, so that's not ideal. And also, he didn't come in with it, and I took it. He came back in to play with it where he'd left it,
and you'd been sat next to it the whole time.
Sat next to it, eating my lunch quite happily, not realising there was a dead mouse on the floor next to me.
That's not nice.
But also, speaking of things to watch, tomorrow night is going to be a live streamed broadcast called Belly Laughs. Belly Laughs is like the Cardiff edition, because they did one in Bristol, now they're doing one in Cardiff. It's a live streamed event, but there's also going to be kind of inserted pre-recorded videos and things, and it's going to be all about Cardiff, but it's going to be comedy, and it's going to be a laugh, and they're raising money for different Cardiff charities.
Oh, good.
But you don't have to be from Cardiff to watch it. We're going to be watching it.
I'm not from Cardiff.
No,
I've never even been there.
I don't live in Cardiff anymore. But I've submitted a video to it, so hopefully that'll be on there, and that'll be a bit of fun. And Ellie was in that as well.
Was
actually.
I can't remember what I did in that. Did I?
That was the one where we were talking. Well, let's not give too much away.
I don't remember being in it.
To you
I've become very complacent.
Camera about that. Yeah. Blasé about.
It is lovely. I am really enjoying making all these different bits and bobs. And actually, we should maybe mention because you got to plug the blog in something.
Well, what happened was I did. We put out a video a couple of days ago about...
Which I can probably link in this now. I think when we talked about it, obviously I didn't have the link yet, but we do have it now, so I will.
Yeah, and it was kind of a topical video about everything that's going on, and it got retweeted by a couple of people, and you kind of put these things out, and you hope some people will watch it and enjoy it, and you don't really know... often you kind of just put things out, and you see it's had some views, but you don't really get any feedback or know if it's...
you just put it into the ether and there it's gone.
Yeah, but this time it got retweeted by Cardiff Comedy Hub, so thank you to them, and it got seen by someone from the British Comedy Guide website who got in touch with me and interviewed me for their regular first gig, worst gig feature, which is like a weekly Q&A that they do with various different comedians every week, and I was able to kind of plug this and talk about Forza Crowd and talk about how much fun it is working with you and doing stuff. And about my forthcoming BBC appearance and the show that I've had filmed. So and in doing that, it's quite nice because even though I can't go out and gig,
you've been quite disheartened, sort of being like, all comedy's on pause, but actually, no, there's lots of things bubbling underneath. There's things you're still making, things you're still doing, and there's stuff that you've already done that hasn't come out yet because we've got that BBC show, like you say, you've got your Edinburgh show that we'll be putting out at some point soon, hopefully. It's quite exciting. So even though maybe you're not gigging right now, you lined up got a few ducks in a row prior to this. It is interesting, like slightly from my point of view, if lockdown and all of this hadn't happened, we might have eventually done a bit of something together, but it certainly wouldn't have been working together as frequently as this. And also probably you would have cast actual comedians to be in your senior sketches because you'd be able to meet them. So it's been kind of nice for me. I'm enjoying making stuff. I was a little bit nervous about sort of I don't know, people in the British Comedy Guide sort of seeing things that I'm in and assuming I'm actually a funny person. So I think I'm just going to have to very much emphasize to everybody at all times I am not a comedian. That like you can laugh at me, not very rarely with me, so it's fun, it's good. So it's nice that a few different bits and bobs are coming to fruition there. But we kind of that was a kind of a sidetrack because we will link to the Belly Laughs thing. Yes, it's on Friday night. We're filming this on Thursday, so this will actually go out on YouTube tomorrow morning, Friday morning, and probably hit Facebook around 3 p.m. So I realise like we're not giving you much notice, but we'll put the link. It'll be rewatchable as well. I assume if you can't watch it tomorrow. I don't know, but certainly it's a thing where you can kind of buy tickets, and it's voluntary. Kind of, I think there's a recommended ticket price of like £4, but they are aware that people don't have a lot of money right now. If you want to give 4p or 40p or whatever you can afford, that's all helpful. As I say, it's mostly going to be themed around Cardiff, but it's going to be a laugh. It's going to have people like Kiri Pritchard McLean, Ignacio Lopez, Leroy Brito, Ellis James, Tidder Owen, various other Welsh comedians, and it should be a lot of fun and well worth tuning in for. So I think that's going to be good. It's a way to support some charities. So so if you're watching this sort of in the day on Friday 15th, it's on tonight. Catch that if you can. We'll put the link. I assume there is already a link that I can put in the blurb to like where to catch it, so I will put that so that you can find that. There'll be a little bit more of us in there. But 2 and a bit minutes. I'm still drawing a total blank. I don't remember what I did in that, but I will explain it to you. I know. It's a bit of a worry. I think all of everything has blurred into one. Like all the blogs have blurred into one, but the sketches that we've filmed and stuff, they've all blended. And there were a couple of bits that we filmed that that we were going to put into a different sketch, which we have discovered that we have now lost, so we need to refilm. But we did them quite early in lockdown, before I think we would sort of So I think we'll do a better job with them this time.
I think,
anyway.
we were
we've probably
just
honed the skills a
planning
bit.
to kind of start making some videos and doing some creative things, and then a
pop it broke a
cat
leg.
came in with a broken leg and turned our world upside down.
Yeah.
So we're kind of getting back on course now, and it's...
Yeah, she's still being a little bugger though. Now that she's quite well, but just has a broken leg all in bandages, she doesn't want to be stuck in a room. So what I'm trying to do, because the vet has said to limit her exercise, but absolutely don't let her jump up on anything, don't let her run, don't let her sort of jump down off anything. That's actually more important, because the jumping up, she sort of will land with her back feet more gently than if she lands downwards on them. But basically, she can't be doing any of that. So I am now, because she's so determined to escape that room, letting her have a little bit of a mooch around, but I'm sort of having to follow her around. So upstairs, thankfully, from when my brother and niece very briefly stayed here, he put up some baby gates. But they've actually been handy for sort of not letting cats or wet dogs into certain places, so I've left them up. So just shut the baby gate and can sort of wander around upstairs with her, just not letting her jump on things. She did get eyes on jumping up on the windowsill though, which made me very nervous because that's quite high. So then I had to catch her and put her away. But she's also around about every morning about 6 when she hears me getting up to, because what I normally do, anywhere between 5 and 6. The other cats and Lucy will decide it's breakfast time, and I've just got used to it. Rather than go no and then just be disturbed by them every 2 minutes when I shift my weight or whatever, I just get up and feed them and go back to bed. But I think when Poppet hears that, she then goes, time to make some noise, and and she sounds so miserable. She's sort of doing the little brrr, brrr, and then it sort of becomes, and then she's thumping at the door, so I'm like, oh god. So then I go in there, but
fed up with being in that room, which is entirely understandable, and of course we can't explain any of it to her.
So I've had a few mornings in a row now where I've been in there at sort of 6 a.m. and I have dozed off in there, but it's a floor, it's not very comfortable. So I'm not actually, I don't think I've had sort of more than say 2.5 hours sleep straight
when we first
in days.
When we first put her in that room, it was near kind of 24-hour care, wasn't it, of one of us being in the room.
It was 24 hours, because when we could be slightly, it needed to be, because she couldn't pee on her dressing, but she also couldn't stand up and get herself to the litter tray very well, so you needed to help her, so you couldn't really leave her in case at any moment she weed.
And then now we managed to slowly claim back a bit of freedom and a bit more time, but it's slowly, the balance is tipping the other way.
Yeah, that you have to be in there because she's so bored, and she's quite clingy.
Understandable, but we don't know how to entertain.
No.
If you have any suggestion, we've tried putting an iPad in there showing videos of fish and birds
which do
and things.
Work temporarily, but not for a huge length of time.
She's got a scratching post in there, hasn't she? She's got
catnip.
A cat toy.
Catnip is working quite well, but again, it's temporary.
You have to kind of be in there to kind of administer it.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's quite hard going. Basically, she wants company. Well, basically, she wants out. But so
company is like a
company will do.
Yeah.
But it is nice because at least she now actually does seem to appreciate our company. For a little while, she went proper sulky, and you'd go in and she'd just sort of look up at you and then just kind of, and it was a bit heartbreaking because I was like, oh, you think this is life now, don't you? But yeah, she seems to have perked up. We've been gas bagging for way too long now.
Yes, we need to get off, but tomorrow a Keir Starmer special.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to talk about him today.
Yeah, there were actually a couple of things on the Keir Starmer front that we want to talk about. So yeah, we will talk about that tomorrow. So come back, watch this space, and remember, like and subscribe. There's no shame in it. That's a thing now, isn't it?
Yeah.